you need more money, you're out of ideas, maybe you need to look at your budget with fresh eyes.
If you don't know us, I'm Larry.
And I'm Hope.
And we're from Under the Median, where every week we bring you videos on practical frugality.
It's probably not a surprise to any of you that Larry and I sometimes just sit around our family room talking about frugality and about budgeting and about numbers and about money. And so really this video was birthed out of one of those conversations. We started having this running dialogue about different small tweaks, different mindset shifts that people could make that would have a huge change in the way that they were budgeting. And not only that, but the amount of money that they were able to save every single month. So really what you are about to view is the conversation that we were having just a little bit ago in our family room.
Well, the first main thing I think that they need to take a look at is know exactly what you're spending. Now, this isn't necessarily what your budget is. This is actually what money you have that you're putting out every month on items that you need to buy.
Here's one of the mistakes that we see people making is that you'll say, do you have a budget? I have a written budget. We're like, great. Are you tracking how much you're actually spending? And the answer sometimes is no.
Nope.
But the main reason that we have discovered that people don't write it down is they don't want to come to terms with what they're actually spending. Internally, they know they're probably overspending. And we all get into this cycle, right? Where we're like, if I don't see it, it's not real. But you know what? This is one of those things you can't close your eyes to. You need to make sure that you're actually tracking what you're spending in each budget category. And it just makes a huge difference. That written budget, that's a fantastic thing to have. But if you're not tracking what you're spending, then it's not helping you that much.
If you have a plan, you need to be able to follow the plan. In order to follow the plan, that is part of the tracking that's involved with your budget.
Here's one of the reasons we tell people this. The budget, that's your roadmap. But the tracking, that tells you the path that you're taking, right?
Yes, it does.
So you put those two things together and you have a clear, concise outline, if you will, of exactly what the plan is. And it's sort of like when we first started budgeting after Larry told me I was crazy. He really did. He did. This was 35 years ago, guys.
I said it in love. It was absolutely laced in love.
That didn't sound like it was laced in love. But he did use those words. He said, you're crazy, because I had come up with this plan. And what he needed to see was this combination that I'm talking about.
Yes.
He needed to see on paper, this is where we're at, point A. This is where we're going, point Z, and this is the concise path that we're going to take to get from point A to point Z. And that's what we're talking about. Point number 2, you need to figure out what you really need.
Yeah.
Here's what's happening right now, and it's no surprise to any of you that inflation is still up, that prices are still going up. And people they need to figure out what is necessary. And I'm not saying never to have anything in your life that isn't totally and completely necessary, but you gotta know the difference between a need and a want.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And especially as times get a little harder, our needs take precedence over our wants. We start saying we have the money for our needs, but not maybe everything that we think that we want to make us happy in life. Yeah,
and it's okay to take some of those wants and put them on a timetable. I think that's the other thing people are not super, super good at is that whole idea of delayed gratification. And of figuring out that, we'd really love to take a vacation every year, but if I had to do it every other year, it's not going to end. It's not going to be the end of my world. As long as I know that it's coming, you just save half of it this year and half of it next year so you know that it's coming up. But because we are all about practical frugality, guys, and I am, remember, the visual one. Here is a really quick, probably 5 minute little activity that you can do. Print out your most recent bank statement. Get 2 colors of markers. Get one marker that is green and one marker that is yellow. Go through that bank statement and everything that is a need, a legit need. You are going to highlight that with a green highlighter. Anything that is a want, that is something that's just extra. Okay.
We call that optional.
Right.
It's optional.
Right. Look me in the eye, guys. If there's a restaurant tab on there, that is not a need, that's a want. I'm just letting you know. Okay, Starbucks, that's a want, not a need. So restaurants, Starbucks, things like that, those are not needs. Those are wants.
Right.
But the whole idea is it's an instant 5-minute visual representation. You can look at that list and tell immediately how many things within 30 days that you spent money on that were wants, not needs. It's really impactful.
I'd like to address one thing that you talked about in that last bit of information, and that is delayed gratification. I want to make sure it's clear that when we talk about delayed gratification, we're not talking about circumventing that gratification. We're not talking about wiping it out completely. We're talking about either paring it down or moving it into a future date where we can afford it, and we're going to take a little bit more time to work up to the level where we can afford to spend some money on that delayed gratification, whether that's a trip in your car or with your family, or maybe going out to eat. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think we all need to have some times where we say thank you to ourselves and we spend some money on ourselves.
Right. Third small strategy is that you are not going to budget based on the status quo.
Right.
That's that 30-day snapshot, so to speak, that you just looked at.
Yes.
And you're going to see that there are some wants on there, not some needs. Don't budget based on what you're seeing in front of you. Never budget based on, well, I'm spending $1,500 a month on food, so I guess that's just what it costs to feed my family. Not necessarily. You want to look at what you're spending your money on, whether it's a want or a need, and constantly ask yourself, is that the best I can do?
Yeah, that's where you put some strategies in place to help you save money. You start using coupons. You start looking for items that are on sale. You start looking for seasonal items that during their seasonal time, they're cheaper. So you put some strategies in place in order to bring down those costs.
So the amount that you budget in each category, not only can it change over time, but it should change over time. We should not be spending the same amount on food now with 2 children still at home as we did with 4 children at home. We should be spending less. People start spending at one level and they stay there regardless of how their life situation changes, that's not necessarily a good thing. Okay, short but meaningful rant. All right? I know that some of you have level utility payment plans, and I'm not picking on you because we did for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
But here is the problem that I see with the methodology where the utility company averages your last 12 months of payments and they charge you the same amount month after month after month. You start to look at that utility payment just exactly like you do a car payment. You start to view it as something that cannot be changed, and it disincentivizes doing what you can to lower the amount of energy that you're using and thus lowering your bill. A couple of times a year, the utility companies will level up the payment plan and change it so it's a little lower, a little higher, something like that. I know, I get that, but I am strictly somebody who wants to see results right away. And I don't know if you're like that or not, but talk to us in the comments section. This is an open conversation. As you can tell, Larry and I we got a couple of notes here and we're just having the conversation in the studio just like we were in the family room a few minutes ago. Tell us in the comments section what you think about that.
Well, just to touch on what Hope said about the level payment plan. So if you have a certain amount that you paid in 2022 for all of your utilities, you're going to expect to pay the exact amount, or rather to use the exact same amount of energy. And it's not really incentivizing you to save money by cutting back, finding ways to cut back on that and do other things. We had a video we just did on heating, how we have waited until kind of recently. Well, we're waiting until November the 1st to turn our furnace on. And we mentioned, 25 things?
And those 25 things, by the way, helped you to stay warm while you were waiting to turn on your central heating.
Yes.
Now, here's part of the problem, too, is people begin to feel stuck. They begin to feel like they honestly can't move the needle. No matter what they do, they feel like they like their momentum is stopped. And so the next point we'd like to make is if you feel like you're stuck, know when to get some help.
Yeah.
We reached that point
Absolutely.
years ago. We have worked it and worked it and worked it and figured out how to lower our costs. And yet we still saw that we had these great big goals, that seemed really, really unattainable. Like,
we were hitting the wall. I call it hitting the wall. We get to the wall, and the wall just seems fixed and too big, and we can't go any more than that.
like him retiring, that seemed really big. So we
Yeah.
knew when we had come to the end of our knowledge and we needed someone who had a greater degree, greater breadth of knowledge
Yes.
that could help us figure out how that path existed to
You're
get
right.
from where we were to where we wanted to be. And that person was John Creekmer from Creekmer Wealth Advisors, and they are the sponsor for this video, guys. John Creekmer, we figured it out just the other day. We went to a dinner that John Creekmer had, a lovely dinner for all of his clients. And somebody asked us, how long have you been with Creekmer Wealth Advisors? And we had to do some math. And I said, it's been 9 years. And I couldn't believe it'd been that long because it feels like it's just gone like that.
It has.
But John Creekmer was the first person that ever, we walked in his office and we said, here's what we've made. Here's what we've been able to accomplish. Here's where we really, really want to go. And he looked at us and he said, it's possible. Let's help figure out a plan to get you to where you want to go. Now, John Creekmer is excellent. Anybody at Creekmer Wealth Advisors would be happy to give you information, whether you're looking for information on budgeting, if you're looking for information on reaching financial goals, on retirement, or on investing. They'd love to field your question, guys. Creekmer Wealth Advisors, they're going to be a link for them all the way at the top of the description of this video. One of the things that John taught us immediately, one of the first things he taught us was how to think about our income in terms of income buckets. Each of the buckets was a goal that we were trying to reach. And he said, so when this bucket gets full, you need to know what the next bucket is.
They help us to reach that goal because we can see clearly as we accomplish one bucket, we move to the next. And then we master that one and we continue on until we have reached our goal. And boy, that was a great way to break it up into small bites.
It was. Now, in terms of the buckets, all of those goals incorporate what we like to call mini challenges.
Yes.
We have 3 different kinds of mini challenges that we do every single year. We do quarterly goals, so that's every 3 months. We have a new set of goals we're trying to reach. We have monthly goals that are all based on those quarterly goals. So we'll take a look at it after 1 month and say, how are we doing? What do we need to do in the next 30 days to move forward toward each of those quarterly goals? And then we have weekly goals. We call them our big 3. Now, the big 3 take us about 60 seconds on a Monday morning. I'm like, all right, what's our big 3? Those are 3 mini goals. So you can see that what we're trying to convey to you is that big goals are scary, but when you break them down into a series of much, much smaller pieces that you're going to do in order to reach that goal, they are so much easier to reach. We did a video on it where we showed each of the 3 kinds of goals and how they relate to one another. We call it a goal ladder. So you've got your quarterly goals on the bottom, then you've got your monthly goals, and then you've got your weekly goals. They're like stair steps that help you to go up that set of steps and reach the goal. I'm going to make sure that there's a link to that video.
Sure.
I'll link it up above and in the description of the video.
What you're really doing here is you're acknowledging the power of change over a period of time. So each of those goals as the reach represents a victory, kind of a victory lap in what you're trying to do. So you want to make sure that as you're doing this, you are doing the math, make sure that you're really pulling these figures down, you're getting them in place so that these make sense to you and work for you.
And once again, we are all about concrete examples. So we
Yes.
want to show you how to look at a larger goal and break it down into some smaller goals. In this case, we're going to give you 2 different savings goals. We'll show you 2 charts. The first chart is going to be you want to cut your budget by $600 a month. And the second chart is going to show you how you can make some small changes that will cut your budget by $200 a month. Let's take a look, first of all, at the $600 one.
Let's take an in-depth look at the $600 savings a month off of your budget. So the very first thing, we got 6 items here. And the very first one is cancel Netflix. So that's going to take $20 off a month. The next one would be cut your grocery budget by $25 a week. And that's going to be $100. And the next one is take lunch to work. Well, I used to work with a lot of people that would go out to eat and they would go to the most expensive places, and they would get food that wouldn't be on sale in addition. So they're spending a lot of money when they go out to eat. But if you take your lunch to work, you could save $40 a week. Think about that, which adds up to about $160 a month. Eat out one time less per week. That could save you possibly $50. It's going to be somewhere in that area, which adds up to about $200 a month. Cancel cable TV. Now, I know this is a big one, but you can live without cable. And I would start by just watching some other channels that are not cable. Maybe give that a week and then see if you can actually do it. And if you can do it, you could save around $25 a week or $100 a month. Ditch your daily Starbucks. Ooh, that's a big one. Now, Starbucks are pretty expensive, so we're thinking $5 a day would be about $25 a week or $100 a month. So these all add up. When you add all those up, you're saving $620 a month off of your budget. Isn't that amazing?
And we're huge at do the math.
Do the math.
Just this math's going to excite y'all. So $620 a month adds up to over $7,000 a year.
Isn't that amazing?
And that is a nice chunk of change. But let's just say you're like, I can't do $600 a month. Maybe $200 a month I could shave off my budget. We're going to give you two different scenarios. Let's do it real quick.
Yeah, we're gonna say maybe you've already become a pretty frugal person in your budget and you really don't have that much to take off in your budget. Well, look at $200. That's a decent amount.
Okay, so for the frugalistas in the audience, then you're going to save $200 a month, right? You're going to sell stuff you don't need.
Yeah.
$60 a month. That's like two $30 items.
Yeah.
4 $15 items. It's just there's stuff around your house that you're not using and you don't need or it doesn't fit anymore. Let's just be honest. All right. Cut cable. In this case, we all right, you're frugal. You're not the $100 a cable month person that's saving the $600. All right, you're the $85 a month cable person. $85 a month for cable. And we're assuming you're only going up to Starbucks twice a week, but you're getting the fancy schmancy drink for $7.50. You're going to save you're going to save $60 a month. So that's $205 just with those three items. Let's give you a plan B in case you don't like those.
Plan B would be to cut your grocery budget by $10 a week. Now, $10 a week isn't really that much.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard to work in that amount of money off of your grocery budget in a week. That would actually save you on a month $40. Another one is to eat out one time less a month. And we're talking about an average of $3,500. Is that a yearly average?
$3,500 a year. So what people are spending eating out. I'm not kidding you.
I'm
not kidding you.
It's a lot of money. And that amounts to $70 a week. $70. That's a chunk of change. And then switch to Mint Mobile. Yes, we love Mint Mobile. The whole family is on Mint Mobile.
All right, Mint Mobile, guys, we'll put our affiliate link for you in the description of this video. We love Mint Mobile.
We do. We really like it.
I know they are not sponsoring this video, but we love Mint Mobile.
But there's $90 a month? Is it
$90 a month, because the average cell phone bill in the United States of America is over $100 a month. It's $120 a month.
Wow.
Yep, I know.
Isn't that amazing?
All right, so those are plans that we would like to show you in writing. This is what we're talking about. So there's some plans for you to save $600 a month on your budget and then to save $200 a month on your budget. It's all about challenging yourself, guys.
Yeah. Now, if you want a little bit more specific information on what you can save off your budget, Hope did an ebook on this, and I want her to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah.
If you're thinking, those are great suggestions. I need some more information. We have an ebook. It's a free ebook, which is the right price, right, guys? And it is 10 ways to radically reduce your expenses. And these are 10 ways that we reduced our expenses personally when we were saving up for great big financial goals. There'll be a link to it, guys. Remember, it's free, the magic word, and it will be in the description of this video.
And while you're doing a few extra things, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. If you're enjoying the content that you're seeing, especially today, then give us a little feedback. That helps the algorithms in YouTube and makes our channel flow a little bit better.
Yep. Like the video, guys, it really helps us out.
It does.
Do the 10% challenge. This is an original idea from Larry and I. We came up with it years ago to help us with our finances. And believe us, it works. We have heard from so many different viewers that said, I did the 10% challenge and it works. Here's how you do it, guys. You're going to make a list of all of your budget categories and what you're currently spending in each of those categories. You're going to set a timer for
about 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah, carve out some time.
Yep.
And then spend some time just conversationally talking about the items that you've written down on that list. And you can find ways to get a total of 10% pulled out of your budget from those items. You might have 15, maybe 19 items on your budget that you can take a look and say, we're going to adjust it here and here and here. And by golly, you're going to start seeing some money flowing into your bank accounts.
It's all about small adjustments over time. You
That's
will
right.
be actually very surprised at the list that you can make. Yes, you can Google it if it's helpful to you. You can even go to our YouTube channel, and there's a little eyeglass thing next to the video list of our videos. You can go to that eyeglass thing, and you can push on it, and you can tell it what topic you're looking for, like saving on food, and it will list all the videos that we have done on saving on food. If you want a lot of ideas on any of these budget categories you're trying to cut, then you'll probably find a video that we have done on that topic. But it's surprising how many ideas that you can get. And remember, guys, you're looking to shave 10% off each area of your budget, and it just works really, really well. We had one lady that said we shaved over $1,000 off, and she said, now we're making the list and we're going back through because we're looking to save even more. So 10% challenge, it really works.
It's amazing how just a little bit of effort on your part can pay off big time in your future.
Step number 7 is to figure out what you must change. It is so easy when our budget goes, because it does, it happens. And look, life happens. And
yes, it does.
Sometimes your budget goes a little bit like off the train track. And it's so easy to look at your husband or your wife or your kids or your job or your community or anything and start pointing fingers saying, well, it's their fault. Or it's the economy's fault, or it's the fault of inflation, or prices keep going up and I can't make any ends meet. It's easy to do that, but here is the truth, and it's so hard because it's looking you in the mirror. Sometimes there are things that you need to change.
It's real easy for life to just happen sometimes. And frankly, Hope and I get caught in this.
Absolutely.
We're speaking out of experience.
Yep.
We've been caught on the negative side on some of these items. What happened to me with the bike accident threw Hope way off. It caused her not to be able to plan as detailed with all the meals because she was taking care of me. And then you have to kind of go to a plan B and figure out what are a couple easy things we can make every night for dinner that we can at least have something to eat. It may not be quite as refined as what we've been used to until you get kind of caught up in that situation rather than saying, well, we're just going to go out to eat because I don't have any time to make anything. Don't make major excuses for not doing it, but find some things that you can do that'll make a difficult situation like that work.
I'll give you an example. Our oldest son, one of the reasons that we chose to homeschool, and we have for 24 years, is that our oldest son, and he won't care that I share this because he shares it publicly, is that he had dysgraphia. And I knew that he needed a lot of extra time and attention, and he would be able to get that in a home education experience. But he came to me one day and he said, Mom, I can't do this. I have dysgraphia. And I said, yes, you do. And you get the chance to say that out loud. And I'm going to tell you that I'm very sorry that this is hard for you. But I'm just going to tell you that life is going to throw you curveballs.
You betcha.
And you get the opportunity to look at that as a challenge that you need to figure out how to work around it and how to overcome it and how you can succeed and how you can put some tools in place in your life. They're going to help you to be able to consistently do that. I'm going to help you come up with that list of
Right.
tools, son, but you're the one that's going to have to put the hard work in, and you're going to have to work it and be able to and he graduated summa cum laude from college with
absolutely.
an almost perfect 4.0.
He found ways to make
Yeah.
it work. I'm facing similar challenges right now. My right arm is practically useless. I can't really move it on its own very much. I got a little bit of movement in the hand, and that's about it. But I'm not letting it throw me. I've got exercises I'm going to do. I'm going to work it and bring it back in. I actually was able to button up the shirt that's underneath this vest using that arm to do it. And I actually got completely dressed this morning. I even got my shoes on and tied them. So there's ways and things that you can do to compensate for some natural weaknesses.
And there are times when Larry's looking at me going, I don't think I'm ever going to be the same again. I'm like, life has changed. And,
has. It really
this
has.
happens with life, but we get the opportunity to figure out what we're going to do to make the best of it. And we're going to celebrate every single small step
Absolutely.
along the way.
Yep.
And that's the other change that I think people desperately need to make about the way they're looking at their finances. They're spending so much time looking at that black hole or looking at the amount of debt they still owe that they have forgotten to look at and be thankful for the progress that they've been able to make.
Yeah.
And Larry always knew when it was a bad day, he'd come home and I'd be like, everything's horrible. He's like, holy moly, what happened? But he taught me a really important lesson. He said, things went wrong today. He's like, okay, some stuff went wrong, but I want you to write down on a piece of paper 3 things that went right. 3 things that made you joyous, 3 things that were unexpected blessings. When you begin to focus on those things and take your eye off of what is upsetting you or what is taking the train off the track, you're going to be able to put the train back on the track and head it once again down the track to get from where you're at to where you want to be. So you can't focus. That's distractions.
That's right.
It's distractions. Don't focus on the distractions.
No, sometimes you have to focus on the change that's coming your way. For me, it might mean that I can't do all the bike riding that I was used to doing and loved. I mean, I loved it from my heart of hearts, doing all the biking. I may have to find another activity in my life that will take the place of some of what I was doing and enjoy it just as much and be just as thankful and be grateful that I'm here with Hope. I am so grateful that I'm able to be here with her and to be able to enjoy the things that I still can enjoy even with some of these limitations.
Yeah, what really Larry is really saying is it's not about deprivation.
Right.
Frugality is never, ever about deprivation. It's about spending less on things that don't matter as much to you so that you have the money in hand to spend cash on the things that are super important to you.
Yes. Every small decision that you make in terms of your budget or your frugal lifestyle makes a big difference over time. And if you'd like to have a little bit more information, we did a video a while back on some small frugal things that you can change, little habits that you can start putting into effect to make a big difference over time. And that video is right over there.